This just might single-handedly be the most dangerous thing to say to an artist. I've worked with clients who have actually lost years of pursuing the creative work that deep down they wanted to do due to this single word holding them back. What is it? Hobby. I'm Jenny Velarde. I'm a psychotherapist, and just as importantly, I'm an artist. Has your creative work ever been written off as a hobby? If so, you are not alone, and we are going to explore that together. Though before we jump in, an important disclaimer. To clarify, if you have actual hobbies that you enjoy and that make your life more rich, I am thrilled to hear it. In fact, finding and nurturing genuine hobbies can be an amazing source of self-care. Though shifting here, if you're an artist or creator who has been told directly or has been made to feel like your craft, your medium, your work is just a hobby, it's possible you have been handed a message that is limiting you. I'll tell a quick story. I remember when I was in college for theater studies, in one of my courses, I had to maintain a creative journal throughout the semester. I remember loving this assignment and really pouring all of my artistic pursuits into this journal. Not only was I an actor, but I worked as a scenic artist, a director, a puppeteer, a playwright. All of that ended up in this journal. At the end of the year, I handed it in, got it back, and my professor, whom I very much respected, gave me an A-. He wrote a note on the front cover of that journal. He wrote that though it was excellent, I needed to make a choice and pick which one of my art forms would be my professional path and which would be my hobbies, because there were too many. I can still remember the very moment I held that journal in my hands and read those words. I recall vividly experiencing a stratosphere of emotions. At the top, I remember feeling mad. I was angry. I was frustrated by the message and the fact that it impacted my grade. Just below those emotions, I remember feeling ashamed. I was embarrassed. I felt silly for actively having so many art forms and for sharing about them enthusiastically, so freely, and feeling a little bit exposed. And just below those feelings, I can really recall this deep intuitive space in me that knew that his feedback simply wasn't accurate, and that this reflection wasn't my reality, and I really didn't have to take it to heart. In looking back on it, I am so thankful that despite the other feelings that had come up for me, understandably, the one at the foundation of them all was that still, strong voice that kept me from limiting the expanse of what I could do creatively. Fast forward now to the fun part of this story. I have since then worked professionally in some capacity with each and every one of these art forms, in addition to other creative mediums. And on top of that, I incorporate all of these mediums constantly into the work that I do as a creative arts therapist and drama therapist. So not only have I professionally worked with these art forms in their most traditional sense, I use elements from all of them on a daily basis in my clinical work and in my life in general. Flat out, I depend on them. Now, thinking back to my professor, do I still respect him? Absolutely. I learned an incredible amount from him, and I feel compassion and empathy for him because odds are he received the messaging about hobbies in conjunction to his creative fullness somewhere down the line and passed that message on to me and perhaps others. And that's what happens. When hobby is a word that is utilized in the context of our artist role, it can really take root within us. It can be a restrictive word, holding us back from what we feel we are allowed or permitted to do. It can be a word that really makes us feel like our work is simply not legitimate. And if we're not careful, we may pass this message on to others. Over the years, I've heard so many stories of artists being limited by this very word, this single word, hobby, by the fear that the work that they do or want to do is nothing more than hobby status. In my case, though it was still limiting, my professor was at least signifying that one of my art forms could serve as an actual profession. Though I've worked with so many people that have received the feedback that pursuing a creative path in general is a mistake because art is nothing more than a hobby. It could never be a profession. It's a pipe dream. It isn't a real job. For more on this, I have an episode on artist stereotypes, which may be useful to watch after this. I'll link it below. The reality is when we color our creativity as a hobby, it's as if we begin to unconsciously close doors for ourselves. We start to close down the creative potential inside of us. We begin designating that things are off limits. So, if you have ever had your creative work deemed as hobby status, I would love for you to start considering how this word potentially has impacted or limited your creativity. Consider starting a dialogue with the people in your life that you trust, your family, your friends, a partner, a therapeutic relationship, other artists. See what their thoughts are on it and if they've experienced it too. In fact, start by sharing your experiences in the comment section. Let's really start to serve as supports to each other as we explore this concept more. So the next time the pang of the word hobby arises, aim to shift, to remember that not only is there massive, boundless, staggering potential within your creative mediums for your professional life, if you so choose, but even more thrillingly, for every single aspect of your life, for all of our lives. Now, go and create. You were created to. Now, here's the thing about procrastination. With the right tools, it can be our greatest helper. Without the right tools, it will take us down, shamelessly stealing days, months, years, and even decades from us. And it doesn't stop on its own. The procrastination system, 6 hours, 5 segments, 20 chapters, custom-built tools and concepts reinforced by up-to-date neuroscience. Turn your inaction into traction. The link's below. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you. If this episode was useful, I would love for you to hit the like button and perhaps share it with someone. For more tool-based, actionable, creative content, please make sure to subscribe. Also, if you have a question about creativity or the artist role that you would like to have answered, please leave it in the comments below and it may be featured in an upcoming episode.